Hello, dear students. And today we're continuing our lecture number 3 about strategic management. I would like to introduce you the lecture number 3. And the topic of our lecture for today will be the analysis of the environment as an element of strategic management. Also macro-media and micro-environment of the film. The goal of our lecture for today will consist of 3 main points. And the first one is about how to systemize the concept of business and planning. Then the second goal, this is understand the stages of drawing up a business plan. And the last goal for today, to familiarize yourself with the requirements for drawing up sections of business plan. The plan of our lecture is about 3 questions. The first one is about strategic management tools. The second one is formation of strategic vision, also mission and the goals of enterprises. And the last one, this is the internal analysis of the firm, the concept, structure, and the factors. So let's begin from the first question of our lecture for today. This is the strategic management tools. The strategic management is a complex management process of defining a strategic vision and mission, analytical research and trend identification development of the industry and the enterprise in order to justify the future strategy and a set of measures for its implementation. Organizational plan, this process is fragmented. It means it divided into certain stages or stages optimization of each of which allows improve the efficiency of the overall strategy development system, enterprise development. Dividing the strategic process into separate elements also allows for narrow specialization employees, thereby increasing quality and productivity of their labor. When effective coordination of strategy management, this division is conditional since each individual and element is a part of a single whole, the strategic management system. Thus, the strategic process is a set of actions of management to form and implement a strategy that grouped into coherent and interrelated stages that differ in particular goals and objectives, as well as used managers with approaches, methods, and tools. The strategic process can only be effective if optimal solutions are achieved at each separate stage. At first, if the organization fails at least at one of the stages, the result, the developed strategy won't be optimal or implemented. For example, there is always a danger that when justifying the strategy and unreliable or outdated information about the real capabilities of a competitor, market trends, etc., which jeopardize further development or even the existence of an enterprise. Therefore, At the research stage, market information should be cross-checked through different alternative sources. In general, the strategic process in modern management divided into 4 main stages. And those stages we will see on our next slide. On our next slide, and now you will see them. We have 4 of them. The first one. So this is the defining a strategic vision and mission. When the formation of a strategic vision, the main priorities and the intentions for business development in the future are made. The choice of a specific field of activity. Mission characterize existing advantages and features of the enterprise, its differences from competitors, and serve as the basis for developing strategic goals. The second one, the strategic analysis of the environment. This is to conduct analytical studies of the opportunities and threats from external environment, identifying the current position of the enterprise in relation to competitors, determining its strengths and weaknesses, the so-called SWOT analysis. About SWOT analysis, we will speak with you on our next lecture. This is also very important and very interesting, how we write the SWOT analysis and what elements do we include into it. The analysis of the environment is the initial process to justify the future development strategy of the enterprise, aimed at the implementation of the formulated mission and goals. The internal environment of the organization is analyzed in the following areas: marketing, finance and accounting, production, personnel, organization, management, and so on. When analyzing the external environment, economic, political, also social, international factors, and also competitive factors. The ultimate goal of this stage is formulation of the main goals and objectives that answer the question, how would we like to see our enterprise in the future? This is a very important question for the strategic of our management on the firm. And I should say that all employees, all staff of the firm, and also the director, they have to answer this question. And after they answer this question, they should understand that they have only the common aim and the common goals of the company. So what about the third one? The strategic choice involves the formation and assessment of possible alternative directions for the development of the organization. Selection of the most optimal strategic alternative for implementation, taking into account available resources and development trends market. In this case, a special toolkit is used, including quantitative and qualitative methods of analysis and forecasting, development of scenarios for future development, multivariate planning, portfolio analysis. The ultimate goal of this stage is the development of a specific strategic action plan for the market, in which a promising strategy is justified and budget for achieving the set strategic goals. At this stage, the answer is given to the question, how can we implement the strategy and what technical, financial, personal, and communication resources do we have? So, let's speak about key components of successful strategy execution. The first is the goals of the strategy and plans are communicated to all employees in order to achieve on their part an understanding of what the organization is striving for and involved in the process of implementing the strategy. The next one is management ensures timely receipt of all necessary to implement the resource strategy, form and implementation plan strategies in the form of targets. Also, the last one, in the process of implementing the strategy, each level of leadership solves his tasks and carries out the functions assigned to him. The results of the implementation of the strategy are evaluated and using the system feedback control over the activities of the organization during which the adjustment of the previous stages, the integrated strategic control system is designed to ensure timely detection of deviations. The appearance of crisis situations and assessment of the effectiveness of the staff at each stages on the strategic process. Our second question will be dedicated to the formation of a strategic vision, also mission, and the goals of our enterprises. So, organizational strategy development begins with the formation, vision, and direction of development. Vision is essential for effective leadership and making responsible decisions. More than the manager cannot act effectively as a leader or strategist without a solid understanding the essence and prospects for the development of your business or field of activity, awareness of what to strive for, how to change the situation in the industry in the future, and how this change will affect the situation enterprises in 5 or 10 years. Thus, a strategic vision is a concentrated management opinion on priority areas development, areas of activity and customer needs, as well as possible competitive positions of the enterprise in the long term. If the management doesn't calculate the options for situations into the future, the organization is missing out on existing market opportunities and loses its competitive advantage. Not processing strategic vision of the company do not know what market position they must strive to win back for themselves. Therefore, exactly, a vision is the most sustainable strategic leadership of the organization. So, let's speak about the mission. The mission is the formulation of the essence of the activity, specifics, business, and ways of development of the organization, all that distinguishes this organization from the rest of the industry. The mission definition accordingly reflects the following information about the company. Here we see 5 of them, and the first one, this is the reason for creation and its distinctive features. competitive advantages in the comparison with other enterprises. The second one, this is formation and entering the external environment about activities organization and its major strategic intentions. The third one, this is the form of perception of the organization or its image in the face or the main customers, consumers of products. The fourth, specification of the areas of activity of the enterprise and promising directions of their development. And the last one, the role of a motivation for employees of the organization, the formation a great certain interest from the external environment. This is the suppliers, our customers, shareholders, government, and etc. Sometimes businesses misidentify a mission, how to make a profit. In fact, profit is a goal and a result activities of the company. As a rule, the desire to obtain maximum profit can lead to a reduction in production costs that create additional value for the product to reduce the personnel or wages. Such a mission will find support among employees or clients, which can significantly worsen the reputation and position of the company. The development of a vision is the exclusive prerogative of the owners. It's individual and should indicate the real area of interests of the created business. Only in this case, the vision as the owner's expectation from the business can be formalized and become the basis for concentrating the strategic goal. When realizing the vision, there are restrictions set by the owners. This is what the firm isn't willing to go to in order to achieve its goals. Limitations are determined by moral and ethical considerations, system settings, and financial capabilities. Speaking about the purpose of the company, its mission isn't so important for young and immature firms because their primary task is simply to survive, to take place obviously. This is dictated by the aggressiveness of the external environment. And only in case of success, after a few years, the search and formulation of the goals, culture, philosophy, and mission of the company begin. The mission is the purpose of the company, a statement about the meaning of its existence, which may include a description of the timeless purpose of the company, the main means of achieving it, and the company's values. It should be noted that diversified companies formulate their mission and define areas of activity in a more general way than highly specialized firms. Mission is a socially significant reason that justifies the existence of a particular company in this world. The mission helps to determine what the company is really doing, what its essence, scale, prospects, and directions of growth, differences from competitors are. At the same time, it focuses more on the consumer than on the product. Philip Kotler believes that 5 factors should be taken into account when determining the mission of an organization. The history of the organization, in the process of which its philosophy was developed and profile and style of activity were formed, place in the market, and etc. Style of behavior and mode of action of owners and management personnel. The state of external environment, resources that the organization can use to achieve its goals. Distinctive features that an organization has, as K. Bowman notes, the formation of a mission or strategic setting has become fashionable relatively recently and has been considered by some managers as an alternative to corporate planning. Correct strategic attitudes should include the following: general values and principles of the company, legal requirements and claims of interest, interested parties may be included if desired. Attitudes towards growth and financing, decentralization, innovation, and etc. For example, Peter Doyle refers to the mission statement of Marriott, which states that the company's mission is to provide accommodation and services with the aim of creating strong, long-term, and mutually beneficial cooperation with customers, employees, owners, shareholders, and the community. From the foreign, it follows that the main task of the company's mission statement is to identify the main interested groups whose needs the corporation seeks to satisfy, and to outline the main directions of the strategy for achieving the goals. Achieving a corporate credo should ensure the creation and maintenance of a loyal attitude towards the company of all interested groups on which the success of the enterprise depends, as well as encourage management to evaluate their policies in the light of the expectations of business participants. Now you can see the modern sustainable situation of the Marriott, and we see that Marriott International is continuing to buy about new hotels nets, hotel nets, and now it possesses about 49% of shares of hotel companies Ritz-Carlton, and also the brand Renaissance Group. The hotels of the Marriott are working in about 70 countries of the world, and annually this corporation opens about 200 new hotels. And to the recent time, this corporation combines about 16 separate brands. So the last question is about internal analysis of the firm, its concept, the structure, and the factors. You can see here the internal and the external factors of the firm. This is the social, political conditions and the law. So the attractiveness of the field, the competitive conditions. So the next one, this is possibilities, and there's dangerous or dangerous situations for the company. We call them with the one word, the risks. Then this in the middle, the strategic situation of the company, which may depend of all those factors. And the internal factors of the firm, this is our weakness and our strong sides of the company. This is also the competitive position on the market, then the personal ambitions, the philosophy of our business, and the ethical principles. And the last internal factor of the firm, this is the cost of our shares and the culture of our company. So this was the figure about the factors determining the strategic choice of the company. A simple model of the primary factors that must be taken into account and essentially determine the strategy is shown on figure 1. The interaction of those factors is usually complex and has specific differences of the industry and the company. As a rule, the strategy doesn't ensure success if the boundary between the internal and external situation isn't drawn. The acquisition of significant competitive advantages is not ensured, and the company's performance is not improved. Just a second. The main elements that are contained in the internal management environment of the company are: the first one, strategy, the image of the organizational actions and management approaches used to achieve the goals of the organization. The second one, determination of the business area, goal setting, definition of short-term and long-term tasks, programs, definition of strategy constitute the strategic plan of the company. And the third, the strategic plan should contain actions to change the strategy, fine-tune it to the situation, to find and consolidate new opportunities for the company, to improve the company's activities, diversify it, improve competitive positions, and influence industry conditions. The strategy depends on the external and internal conditions of the firm. The main external factors are social, political, legislation, the influence of society, and the attractiveness of the industry market, threats, the favorable opportunities of the company. The fifth one, this is the primary internal factors influencing the company strategy. They are the strengths and weaknesses of its activities, the competence of management, its personal ambitions, the company's philosophy and ethics, the company's culture, and the market value of shares. Analysis of the competitive forces acting on the firm. This analysis is done with the aim of identifying opportunities and dangers that a firm may face on an industry. Porter proposed a five-force model for these, we will see on figure 2. He argued for this method that the higher the pressure of those forces, the less the existing companies have the ability to increase prices and profits. The weakening of forces created favorable opportunities for the company. The company, by changing its strategy, can influence those forces on its favor. The risk of entry by potential competitors, Porter's five strengths, poses a threat to the company's profitability. There are three main sources of such barriers. This is loyalty of the brand of buyers in common companies, absolute cost advantages, economies of scale. It's associated with lower costs for mass production of standardized products. The second competitive force, according to Porter, is rivalry of existing companies in the industry. Three factors should be identified here: the structure, the conditions in demand, the height of exist barriers in the industry. And you will see here the five Porter's strengths. So the structure of industry competition depends on the degree of consolidation in the industry. A fragmented industry poses potentially more threats than opportunities because entry into such industries is relatively easy. In consolidated industries, companies tend to be large and independent. Thus, the competitive actions of the company directly affect the market share of competitors, causing them to respond, unwinding the spiral of competition. The growth in demand in the industry is leading to moderate competition while providing great opportunities for expansion. Demand grows with the market. Companies can increase the rate of turn on investment, and this makes the companies more attractive. The forces of competition acting on the firm in an industry evolve over the life cycle of the industry. Therefore, relatively high profitability is observed at this stage. Non-price competition can play a large role in this stage and is important for companies that take advantage of product differentiation. The situation is changing in the recession stage. Competition especially increases if exit barriers are high, profits are falling, and the danger of a price war is significant. The third potential force is the ability of buyers to bargain. It poses a threat of pressure in price due to the need for better quality or service. Weak buyers, on the other hand, allow prices to rise and profits to rise. Buyers are strongest in the following situations: when the supplying industry is made up of many small companies and buyers are small and large, when buyers purchase in large quantities, when the industry depends on buyers for most of its activities, when the buyers can choose between supplying industries according to the criteria of minimum prices, which increases price competition in the industry, when economically for buyers, acquisitions from different companies are considered as a single whole, when buyers use the threat of selling their supply through vertical integration. The fourth competitive force is pressure from suppliers. The most powerful is the pressure from suppliers in the following cases. When the delivered products has few substitutes, and it's important for the company, when companies in the industry are not important for supplying firms, when suppliers supply such products, when suppliers exploit the threat of vertical integration for what, and then buying companies are unable to use the threat on their vertical integration back. The fifth competitive force is in the threat of replacement products. The existence of complete replacement products poses a serious competitive threat that limits a company's price and profitability. However, if a company's products have few reflect substitutes, perfect substitutes, then companies have the opportunity to raise prices and make additional profits, and their stages should take advantage of this fact. So here you can see the bibliography, the list of literature that you may read in your free time. And so this was all about our lecture for today, all the material. And I wish you good luck and bye.